We have to be in the frame.
It's good if I can see you.
Probably a good idea to be in the frame.
And Jackie moved to this.
Yeah, I think she's okay. That was
Jackie,
Jackie. You were fine. Yeah, you're fine. Okay, go ahead.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Patricia.
My name is Ushmil.
And I'm Jackie.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about your project?
So as you can see, our project is on North Korean defectors, and how we got our topic was pretty straightforward. From the beginning, we were all really interested in North Korea and knew that we wanted to do an exhibit on it. And for me, it was quite personal because my grandfather escaped North Korea during the Korean War. So our focus on our project is North Korean defectors specifically and their journeys through escaping as well as afterwards, and how and the many different things they encounter as well as the civil rights that they're deprived of.
So I want to ask a question about your research process, because North Korea is notorious for the difficulty of extracting information from there, right? There's very few encounter like actual. So what did you do? How did you find information?
We started our research by interviewing my grandfather, and so from that we were able to get one primary source. We also read quite a few autobiographies because although there aren't that many North Korean defectors, those who do escape oftentimes have a story that people want to hear. So they either have autobiographies or biographies that we were able to read.
Definitionally, I assume a defector would be fairly negative towards North Korea. Did you find other sources that were maybe more conciliatory, or how did you balance out your sources?
We tried to find sources that we knew weren't as biased, but that's quite hard because North Korea doesn't give out a lot of information. So we did find the North Korean defectors. We found news articles as well, but that's kind of biased against North Korea. So we also tried to find quotes from the Kim regime that North Korea said themselves to kind of get a balance between them.
Following that, what is your position towards, like, I know I've looked into websites that the Korean government puts out and that kind of thing. Did you guys look at any of the sources that their government puts out, or did you eliminate them entirely as a source, or?
Well, we did look at a couple of websites, and the websites we did look at are a very trustworthy website, such as CNN, History, the National Geographic, History Channel, their websites, and we looked at what they had to say for themselves. And then also, not only did we get information from the websites, but we also got information from the autobiographies and the biographies. And usually the North Korean defectors, they would say something negatively charged towards the Kim regime because they have realized that they've been lied to their whole lives.
And we didn't really have any websites from the government just because we didn't really look into that. So, yeah, we mostly had it from secondary sources such as news websites and news articles.
There was there weren't that many websites from the government, but there was one North Korean channel website that we had seen, but there wasn't that much information on it.
Your title's intriguing, The Treacherous Encounters. What did you mean? What did you mean by treacherous?
Treacherous as in difficult and dangerous, just because the journey that these North Korean defectors have to face is a really grueling and harsh one. And so we thought that would best represent it because we thought, because out of exploration and counter exchange, we thought the major one that we were really trying to emphasize was the things they encountered before, during, and after their journey. So we thought that best suited our title because before, during, and after their journey, they faced several difficult challenges, and so we thought it would best suit our project.
What were some of those challenges?
So while in the country, they were under the harsh rule of their dictator. They were not only in extreme poverty, but they were also brainwashed to believe that their leaders were their gods, their saviors, and truly supreme beings, when they were in reality the ones putting them through this torture. while trying to escape, they still face several challenges, and because escaping is very hard, and though many people try, few succeed. And they have to trust brokers and smugglers to get them through. They have to marry or sell themselves. They have to, and the lucky ones get to depend on NGOs such as Liberty in North Korea, which was one of the things we put for our encounters. And it is also, they also have to like find the right time to escape because it's not always safe, and they also have to escape during the winter time since when they escape through China, the rivers have to be frozen over. And majority escape through China because it's harder to escape through the DMZ, which is the demilitarized zone, to South Korea. And while in a new country, they still face several challenges because while in China, there's a treaty between both countries that if they find a North Korean defector, they have to be sent back to the country that they had tried so hard to escape from. And they still face several psychological, mental, emotional, and physical challenges while settling into a new land.
So we also showed this through our design. So as you can see on the right-hand side corner is the river, which the North Korean defectors had to escape during wintertime because, as said, it had to be solid so they could walk over the river, and it's too many feet deep, so they can't exactly swim in it. So after the defectors, if they made it across the river, then they would encounter some fences that were many feet high. After they went over the fences, they would encounter a desert area that was hundreds of feet. It took a long time. That's why the North Korean defectors usually have to start from nighttime. And once they get over to the second fence, they again climb over it, and then they're back into the Chinese. Well, they're not back, but I mean, they're in the Chinese border. And once they reach there, they have to go and hide immediately into the cornfields. And once you reach the Chinese border, there's not going to be that many guards at that time of day. But then you will reach cornfields, and once you reach the cornfields, you immediately go into hiding. And then many North Korean defectors from the autobiographies, I learned that they had to go into black marketing. They had to sell themselves. They had to go into labor just so that nobody would rat them out. So then they wouldn't have to go back into North Korea, because once you cross over, your 3 generations of your family will be affected by it. They will probably be tortured. They'll probably go to prison, and you're not only risking your lives, but you're also risking your families if you don't take all of them with you.
I'm curious about some of the images you guys have chosen. The ones with the, I believe that's either UNICEF or the UN ribbon. There's Ayla and Kurdi, I see on the left there, the baby facing the.
Syrian.
So, what's the connection here, like, of some of the images you have? I also think you have some. Is it like I'm not so sure what the
caption.
Yeah, or in general, what's the connection of all these images that you've chosen to?
The images are connected to the quotes and the captions. So for each caption, by our wire, we separated it.
Okay.
So each caption has a couple of photos and a couple of quotes from primary sources.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, through the photo, we are explaining our caption and trying to visualize it for you, just in case you can't get it, just in case an image doesn't pop up. So there's more of a realistic version.
And so for, like, you were asking about the Syrian boy?
Yeah.
So we related our topic because we wanted to relate it more to today's world and something that was a bit more known. So the Syrian refugee crisis is a really worldwide known problem, and we related that to our topic, the North Korean refugee crisis, because they are both similar, as in when they try to escape to other countries, they are deported back to a place they were trying so hard to escape from. So that's our kind of, even though this is still an ongoing problem today, we related it to another problem. So we just wanted to show that through some pictures, and we briefly mentioned it in our caption.
If you guys go to nationals, what ideas do you have to maybe expand this exhibit further? How would you change it?
Well, we thought about because our content was pretty solid, but we wanted to really work on the visuals, just because like we wanted them to incorporate the visuals more with the flow of our information, because like for example, our title is kind of just a red block above it, and we kind of want to have it relate to North Korea and North Korea defectors. And we want to also make the pictures stand out more, just so people look at it more and so they can relate it more to our captions.
This is a fascinating topic, and through your research, they may be escaping economic and political hardship or oppression, but what about the cultural side? I mean, home is where North Korea is, and that's where their family, and you mentioned that families, third generations, were often tortured. Did you find any defectors that regretted doing this?
For the defectors, a lot of them had to abandon their families. It's already hard enough to escape on yourself, so bringing your entire family is extremely hard and almost impossible. And I know my grandfather personally had to leave his family in North Korea. And I think there are a couple that have gone back for their family. We read about one North Korean defector who went back and actually managed to rescue her family. But I think it's something that's quite hard because it's their past and they want to focus on making a big future. And of course, it's going to cross their mind and they're going to regret leaving them. And there are going to be moments where they're going to second guess their decision. But in the end, I think they were fighting for freedom, and that's what they're entitled to.
Anything else you'd like to tell us? Yeah, no, I'm just.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering about
minutes,
what's happening at the top. Who are those guys, and why'd you put them there?
So basically, our design was at the bottom. We were our basic design idea was that at the bottom we could show how they escape, and then at the top it's how they are in the environment. So, in a North Korean household, you will usually see the three main leaders of North Korea, and either they are tilted toward down you or they're at a high level. So basically, it's showing that the leaders are at a more superior level to you, and that they're your god. Well, North Korean people's god.
And actually, you'll find them in, I think, all North Korean buildings, because this is actually a law that you have to have them here. And if you're found not to have them, you could be sent to prison.
How is this connected to the Cold War or the present situation in North Korea? Like, is this something that should concern others?
Well, North Korea has definitely been a threat sometimes. They've threatened nuclear weapons. They've been testing bombs, and if they do manage to successfully obtain these weapons, then of course they can use them on the United States, Korea, and really anywhere in the world. And that's really important for our safety. It relates to the World War II and the Cold War, because there was a lot of global tension, and that's when the Korean War started. It was after World War II ended and the Cold War started. And so in Korea, it was a civil war, but there were many outside influences, like China and the Soviet Union backed up North Korea and helped them fight, and the U.S. backed up South Korea, and later the UN did. And it kind of shows the major powers of the world against each other.
I'm sorry, about one more minute.
So is there anything else you want to be sure that you share with us before the interview is over?
Okay, so though we mentioned that this project, this theme relates to the Syrian refugee crisis, it's also the North Korean refugee crisis is a violation of human rights due to the harsh conditions they are that they experience while in the country, the grueling journey they have while they are trying to escape, and even afterwards the challenges they face. It all violates their human rights, and they're unable to obtain dignity, freedom, and justice throughout their entire journey. And still today, this is a problem, as several North Koreans are still trapped, and they're trying to escape, and they want to, obtain freedom.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's excellent. Great presentation.
Thank you. Good job.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.